What is going on, everybody? Holy cow, what a day of trading it was today. So, I usually like to make these little clips, these market update clips, 1 hour to the close, but there was so much going on today. I was basically glued to my screen. We had a bunch of trades going on. So, I'm making this after the market is closed, but I did take some good notes, and we're going to talk about a few of the things that I was watching today. Let's first talk about Intel. Intel had a monster day today. Now, initially, people were talking about CPU pricing going up. Obviously, that's a huge positive for Intel. But I think another thing underneath the surface, people are not really taking into consideration or pricing in fully is the risk of China invading Taiwan. There's obviously no direct threat as of right now. However, I did hear some talk today that the Trump administration going into Venezuela and extracting Maduro definitely sets an imperialistic precedent in the world. I'm not sure if I agree with that, but it is an interesting take. Obviously, if China were to invade Taiwan, that puts TSMC at risk, and Intel is sort of the hedge play for that. I noticed today that Vistra Energy, Constellation Energy, and if you look at Talon, the ticker symbols on all of these are VST, CEG, and TLN, had horrific days today. And those are independent power producers. They produce electricity via various different means, and they sell that electricity on the open market. So if the Trump administration wants to keep costs down for the consumer, I think it's interesting to see that these names are selling off on potentially that idea. If the Trump administration decides to cap electricity prices somehow, that would obviously be a huge negative to those names. You sort of saw that playing out a little bit in today's tape. Last thing for today I want to talk about. We mentioned yesterday the weakness in Apple stock. Now, today that trend sort of continued. You saw a lot of the other hyperscalers, Mag 7 names, ripping today, acting very, very well, and Apple notably a lagger. Now, I was trying to figure out why, and then I punched up Dell and I punched up HPE, and then I figured it out because those two names were selling off hard. I think the market was sort of, for some reason, people are still pricing in the memory price hikes from Micron, SanDisk, and applying this negative pressure to these tech hardware names. I think that's super stale, super late trade. It feels like every day there's new headlines about memory pricing skyrocketing. It's been happening for the last 5 or 6 days. It's nothing really new. You've seen SanDisk, you've seen Micron, they've all ripped to new highs. That's sort of stale. And I think to go and hit the hardware names now is a tad late. We'll see if that trend continues, but I think that's, if you're doing that now, you're a bit late. So there was a bunch of other stuff today. There were a ton of headlines from the Trump administration and in the market in general. Stay tuned for tomorrow. We're going to have a lot more to talk about. This market's really heating up, and we're only a few days into